Hello, good evening, and welcome, inquiring eyes of the internet. My name is Joe Fritz, and I'm going to draw some stuff for you. Well, I'm going to draw one thing in particular. Now, I've kind of been a little lazy lately. I generally try to make content in bursts, and then kind of you know plan it out, schedule it out so that I can kind of just sit back and enjoy like a week, a couple weeks. But I've been falling behind a little bit here, so I've been playing a lot of Mutant Football League, which I'm not a football fan, but I do like arcadey sports games, and that game is the type of game I haven't played in a long time. It's a lot of fun. You play as mutants who play football. There's like mutants and aliens and Mad Max looking guys and robots and orcs. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you miss those old arcade style sports games, because real sports games are annoying. It's really good. So today I wanted to do something really fun. I decided to draw on a parchment texture that I just found on the internet. I think I just Googled parchment, and this is what I found. It was on some free texture website. My rules for I wanted to draw a picture of Raziel because I felt it was appropriate. Maybe this is a drawing in some old Nosgoth book of forgotten lore. Some scribe had to draw Raziel from memory, a memory that terrified him, because Raziel is a terrifying wretch of a creature that devours souls. Well, obviously, I'm a big Legacy of Kain fan, have been since I played Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver on the Dreamcast. I think that's the best version of it still. It was the first one I played, and I still think it's probably the best game in the series. If I'm being honest with myself, looking back, that was the high point. But the other games are fun too, and they continue the story, and I hope someday they get back around to it, to telling more stories of the world of Nosgoth. But until then, we're just gonna have to make do with all the other great games that are out, like Mutant Football League. Unless you're not into that, it's fine. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun doing this. My rule was no erasing, and you can see over in the corner there, I'm dealing with one layer. So if I did erase, I'd be erasing the background too. So yeah, this is like, it's a fun exercise. It's basically like drawing in ink. You can't erase ink, so. But I'm using the pen tool, and I set the opacity down to like 33%, so that way the more I layer the color on, the darker it gets. And it's more like drawing with graphite than anything else. But yeah, my rule was no erasing. So he's got that weird little growth over his shoulder right there that I'm just going to say is one of his wings, one of his ruined wings, because Kain ripped the bones out of his wings and left him with the membranes. God, Legacy of Kain is so metal. I had a lot of fun with his hair here. It almost looks like spider legs rather than hair, but it was a lot of fun to draw. Of course, he's got that 90s part down the middle. and a kind of weird bowl cut in the back. I don't know. Some great eye makeup, some eyeshadow. I like Legacy of Kain, but I definitely think me being a fan of it makes me kind of feel like the Azrael Abyss from I think that was Chris Kattan on Saturday Night Live. Azrael Abyss, I work at the Cinnabon at the mall. But yeah, that's I was kind of a weird little goth kid. I don't know if I was goth. I don't know what you would call me. I wasn't really emo either. Yeah. I don't know. I never really thought of myself as goth. I guess just alternative or whatever. I don't know what the word for it is. If there even was, there's no word for what I was. I try to defy explanation no matter what I do. I don't know. I guess I was a little goth. I just wasn't. I wasn't hung up on my depression. God, I was goth. I mean, like looking back, I was probably more goth. I just felt like I wasn't goth. Like I felt like I wasn't goth enough at the time. Like I could have been more goth. It's like 11 o'clock at night while I'm recording this, so I'm being a little silly. But yeah, I was definitely into goth things like The Cure and Dungeons and Dragons, vampires, Vampire the Masquerade, all that stuff. White Wolf. Never really got into Buffy. I know that was real big around the time I was still in high school when Buffy was on and when it hit big. But CW in my town, you kind of had to like stand on your TV with tinfoil on your head and kind of wave the rabbit ears around to pick it up, and we didn't have cable, so yeah, one of the joys of growing up kind of poor-ish is you don't get cable. And ironically, I don't have cable now because nobody has cable anymore. I mean, like we all moved out of our parents' houses and they still have cable and we don't. Like my entire generation. Actually, my family got cable after I left because they didn't have to feed me anymore. I guess I saved them a lot of money by moving out. And, they started going on vacations with my younger sisters and everything. But yeah, they suddenly got cable, and my generation, we don't even watch cable anymore. And I'm sure there's some people who do. When I was getting cable for free, I was watching it, but that's a story for another time. So yeah, Raziel's, you saw it get a little darker there. It's because I was drawing this and it suddenly got dark and my computer screen adjusts for light levels and stuff like that. So I apologize if that's distracting or whatever, but that's just, it recorded it that way and I can't really do anything about it. I'm sorry. You notice I sped it up here. Just to keep the video under 15 minutes. I feel like that's like the ultimate time frame like people want in a YouTube video. At least me personally, I want like 15 minutes or something. So the first part is in real time. This is all sped up. Not sped up too fast, but it's sped up. If you've never played Legacy of Kain, go play it. Go find I think of all the ones that you could get that are just available to purchase right now, on Steam, Defiance is probably the one that stands up the best as far as what looks good by today's standards. But if you really want a good Legacy of Kain experience, I recommend getting a Dreamcast. They're not super expensive right now because I'm the only person in the world who likes Dreamcast, or whoever liked Dreamcast. And get yourself a Dreamcast and get yourself a copy of Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver on the Dreamcast, because they completely redid a bunch of the sound effects and a bunch of the graphics, or a bunch of the texture work, and they up-resed it for the Dreamcast, and it looks amazing. And it looks so much better than it does the Steam version that's available, the PlayStation Network version that's available. It is so much better than all of them. So go get the Dreamcast version and play that, because it's really good. But failing that, I would check out maybe Soul Reaver 2 or Defiance, because those stand up pretty well. Again, by today's standards, as far as being playable and stuff. Although Soul Reaver 2, they had to cut so much content out of it. It's super short. But, yeah. We're just about to wrap this one up. So, yeah, Legacy of Kain's so great, but the storyline got a little convoluted. Kind of went into the lost territory a little bit. If you need to know who Raziel is, Raziel was a vampire. He was one of Kain's lieutenants, Kain being a vampire that chose to rule the world instead of save it. Rule the world as a vampire or kill himself and save it. So he chose to rule the world. And in the process, the world was ruined and destroyed. And so he, or was it? Or did he try to find another way to save the world? I don't know. You'll have to play the games and find out. But yeah, Raziel got thrown into a swirling vortex of water, and his skin melted off, and the Elder God found him and made him his Soul Reaver, the harvester of souls. So he goes out and kills his vampire brethren in order to gather souls for the Elder God. And yeah, that's the kind of stuff you can expect from Legacy of Kain. So, yeah, I'm just going to sign my name here, and then we'll take a look at a nice close-up of the finished product. Here we go. You can see it's just scribbles. It's just a lot of scribbles. But, you back away from it, it looks pretty good. There's nothing special about drawing. There's no magic to it. You just put pen to paper and see what comes out. I encourage you to give it a try. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one.